Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm your host, Pete Mezzetti. My guest this evening is Jim Curtis, who is the men's golf champion with the Clinton Country Club. Jim, welcome. How are you, my friend?
Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming down. No, thanks for the time. Thanks for the time. So, Jim, tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been playing golf at the Country Club.
Well, I just approached 30 years this year.
Oh, wow.
Officially in August. And,
okay.
So it's not quite half my life, but
okay.
it's a big chunk of my life playing golf at Clinton, and it's been terrific. I mean, we got a great membership there.
You do.
Got a great pro, good staff, from inside to out, from Chef Paul to Mike, our green superintendent, Sean Buska. I mean, we've got some veteran leadership there on the in and around the country club.
Okay.
Got a great board of directors that see us through good times and tough times to make decisions. And as we know, last year was a difficult time.
Absolutely.
For everybody, but golf kind of shined through, and a lot of people started to learn the game, and Clinton's a great place to learn the game.
Absolutely, and what people don't know is Clinton is private club member only.
It is private, but we open it up to some junior clinics, and Sean will, he invites others to come in and take lessons, friends of members. We encourage a lot of outside play, and from there, hopefully, they become part of us and enjoy the experience.
Absolutely. So. Now, how easy is it to understand golf and pick up the game of golf?
It can be difficult. It takes a lot of time, practice, energy, concentration.
Right.
To get to certain levels that maybe you have out there. I know of people that are very athletic in other areas. When I went to college, I was in a fraternity that was a jock frat, a lot of football players.
Oh, there you go.
And they used to make fun of us that played golf or tennis that were in the frat. And you fast forward to many years later, and they've all picked up the game.
There you go.
And they've had difficulty, but it's a great social game, good for business.
Absolutely.
It takes a lot of practice over and over. And my wife Cindy, for example, has just gotten back into it after some surgeries, and so she's playing at Clinton every week, and it's become important to her, and I think from a social standpoint, and just she's meeting some new ladies there, and she's actually brought me in to meet some other members.
Oh, there you go.
It's got a lot of benefits. I think it's bridged a lot of hurt through COVID, because it was one of those sports that you were able to play because you're outdoors, and there's a lot of people I think that started to learn the game.
Absolutely.
Because they had a lot of time to do it.
Oh, absolutely, and especially right after COVID, you're outside, and the course is absolutely beautiful, as you know.
Yes, it is.
You know as well as I do, and it's a great course, and obviously you're outside, so fresh air.
Fresh air. It's it's a healthy environment. I think you're right. You're outdoors. It's one of the few sports that really survived COVID.
Right.
And I do a lot of skiing too, and that was another one that was just terrific during COVID.
Oh yeah.
We all had time, I think.
Right.
We all had some extra time, and why not learn something or do something you love and do it more often?
Absolutely. And what people don't know about you is you recently won the men's championship at the Country Club.
I did.
Back in
Labor Day weekend.
I was going to say back Labor Day weekend, so a couple weekends ago.
Right.
Tell us about that.
Well, it was a lot of fun. I mean, I won it this year at 68 years old.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I may be the oldest club champion, men's club champion there.
Really?
I won it last year too.
Yeah, that's right.
And I beat Tom Pellett, who's a great friend of mine. And I will honestly tell you that there's probably 8 to 9 guys in the men's club champion group of good players that could win it. I was just, it was my day, and I was lucky. I think Tom could probably beat me 7 out of 10 times.
Really? Wow.
But I've had a couple of good runs, and played well against him.
Absolutely.
So.
Now, when for the club championship, they probably start a couple days before with the qualifying rounds. How's that work?
Qualifying happens the weekend before.
Okay.
Unless you're exempt, by winning the previous year, which fortunately I was.
Ah.
So you get it's there's a difference in stroke play, which is how you qualify, and then they take the top 15 or 16 players, and that reverts to match play on Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
So, one would play number 16, two would play 15, right on down,
Right.
in brackets. And match play. The beauty of the golf is match play is just it's a very different game than stroke play.
Right.
Because you're playing an opponent rather than playing the golf course.
Right.
Even though it really helps to play the golf course and keep your mind on that, but it's not always easy.
No.
So to win the club championship, you've got to win your match. The first one's on Saturday, and then if you win that, you go to Sunday morning. If you win that, Sunday afternoon, and then the finals Monday. So to win, you've got to win 4 matches.
Okay.
And you're playing against some very good competition. So you need a few breaks,
Yeah.
a little bit of luck,
Okay.
and fortunately I've had some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it's a pretty exhausting weekend.
It's emotionally you're ready to have a good night's sleep.
Absolutely.
It's fun, but I owe a lot of my success really to my health. I mean, I've been very fortunate. Okay. At my age, I've had no serious injuries, no joint replacements. Okay. Nothing like that. I do work out a lot to stay healthy because you have to play the young guys and play effectively against them. You got to, keep your body in shape, your mind in shape, and I owe a lot of it to my wife because she's always encouraging me and pushing me to go practice, go play. We've got 2 kids that are in college, so we're pretty much by ourselves now with a couple of dogs.
There you go.
So she's certainly, because she's back into it and playing, she loves to see me perform and do well.
There you go. Now, as far as, there's got to be a difference between men's golf and women's golf, especially when you're on the golf course. What is it?
I think probably as far as, skill level, it can be very equal.
Okay.
Obviously, men tend to hit it further. Okay. But the ladies are playing from tees that are a little further up.
Oh, are they?
So, at the end of the day, they can hit it just as far as men, from their tees.
Absolutely.
So we typically have 4 sets of tees at Clinton to accommodate all levels and ages, and from seniors to juniors to ladies. Right. And then we have our black tees, which is the longest yardage measured at the club, and that's where we end up playing our championship weekend. Okay. From those tees.
You guys play off the black tees?
Right. But the ladies, we get some very skilled ladies, and we play a lot of mixed events, meaning the men plays with ladies in some tournaments and so forth, and they're a lot of fun, and we get some ladies that can compete just as well as men.
Really?
Well, yeah. They can putt well, chip well, and hit the ball just as well. So.
Now, how'd you get interested in golf?
My grandfather, on my mother's side, brought my brother and I into it when we were under 10 years old. Okay. He had an apple orchard business up in Vermont. All right. Every summer, grandkids would go up there and spend a couple weeks, and so he played golf in his spare time up there, and so he gave us our first sets of clubs. A lot of wooden shafted, old style clubs, because this is back in the 60s. Right. So that's what was out there then. The technology certainly advanced a lot since then. Oh yeah. But we had our favorite clubs, and we'd go play with Gramps, and my brother and I got the bug, and I'm 2.5 years older than my brother, but so I might have progressed a little quicker than he did initially, but he caught up. Absolutely. And so it's become in our genes, and we've played it ever since. Through high school, we were on the golf team together, both my brother and I. We had some great teams up in Newton, Massachusetts. I played in college, Division III, but it was still very competitive. And I continue to compete in state events, New England events, when I have the time. Right. Obviously, along with some of the many club events that we offer. So, you know, it's a great game to learn young, to pick up later on, to play through your later years. Obviously, we have a lot of friends that have retired down south, and obviously there's a lot of golf to be played down there. The weather's encourages golf.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, so that's how I started. Gradually, you know, we got our full sets of clubs. We had a membership in New Hampshire, where we lived for a period of time, and so my brother and I used to mix Little League baseball with golf and competed there and as juniors, and so I think my competitive juices started with really competing with my brother, because 2.5 years apart. You know, it might have been more than that when we were 7 or 8 years old, but when we got to high school level, we were pretty close. Absolutely. And we loved beating each other. So we encouraged each other as well. Absolutely. But we were always our supporters of each other. But it was, you know, I think to this day, it's what started the competitive fire in me for that sport.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to a small Division III college in Wisconsin called Ripon, R-I-P-O-N college, about 1,000 students. We were in a very competitive conference of colleges in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa. Had a lot of 6 and 7 hour bus rides to compete.
Oh yeah.
Had a short season in the spring because the winters out there can be cold and the snow can be deep.
Oh yeah.
So, but we, you know, as short as the season might have been, it was a lot of fun, and we were fortunate to play on a very good golf course, which is ranked in the state of Wisconsin, and they've got a lot of good ones. But we were able to go play there as often as we'd like. So it was a great experience, and you know, a couple of my best friends from that team remain my best friends, and my fraternity brothers. So.
Would you mind sticking around for another segment?
Sure.
We'll be right back.
Keep on keeping on, baby. Keep on keeping on, yeah. You expect me to stop living? No, you're telling me giving. I gotta do. Oh, your baby gonna keep on keeping on.
Thank you, Connecticut, for doing your part to stop the spread of COVID-19, for wearing your masks, washing your hands, and keeping your distance. So keep it up, Connecticut. We've come too far to go back.
Community TV, your neighborhood TV.
Publicly funded and a reliable partner for cable companies nationwide. It provides transparent coverage of local and state government, education, and public programming.
A digital town green that can be watched anywhere, anytime, and on any device.
Watch us on today's high-tech distribution methods.
Community TV in Connecticut.
Local,
unfiltered,
reliable, and yours.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti, sitting here with Jim Curtis. Jim, welcome back.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, bud. So, Jim, let's talk a little bit about how important it is to get involved, especially at the country club with what's going on, because things are starting to get back to a somewhat normal state.
Right. Well, you know, it's we got a great board of directors over there.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, you know, starting with that leadership, and Dave Adams as president, you've got some individuals who are in positions as directors who, in some cases, do that in their real jobs.
Right.
From Steve Sinney, who is our restaurant chairman, who owns Chip's Pub, and you've got some other folks that, you know, in the financial arena, who are also well versed to manage the you know, the money that comes and goes out of Clinton and invested in certain things. And what we also have is a very democratic situation over there where, you know, anything that's of any kind of major expenditure or undertaking is always voted on.
Right.
That's not always the case in other clubs. I mean, I've known of other club situations where I have friends that it's driven members out of the clubs because oftentimes decisions are made by committees outside of the membership.
Okay.
Which, you know, is really not a healthy way to run a business or a club.
Not.
So. Right. So we, you start there, and then you've got, all kinds of others that volunteer their time and to help out, like with this gala that's coming up.
Yeah, that's right.
The 125th, which is happening in year 126. But,
right, exactly.
But I remember back on the 100th year gala.
Yes.
Which was a great time. I mean, and it brings the membership together, brings them closer, and it'll be truly an experience to remember.
Absolutely.
But the preparation that goes into that, you need a lot of volunteers.
Oh yeah.
Outside of maybe the committees that are already established there, and that's where it's invaluable to have people that step up.
Absolutely.
To volunteer.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, Dave Adams was here recently, not long ago, talking about we talked about the history of the country club, but we also talked about the gala.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty interesting show.
It's something a lot of people are looking forward to because it happens in October.
Right.
So it's the golf season's winding down.
Yeah.
There's a few other small events that happen, after that, but for the most part, and a lot of our members travel south. So I think it's a great way to wind up, a very strong year that we've had. Where golf rounds have been way up, guest play's been way up. All of our tournaments have been almost fully undertaken.
Okay.
For play, and we've basically almost got a sold-out sign, I think, over at the club with a waiting list now and
really
both at the golf level for golf memberships along with social.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's become it's a popular place. I mean,
absolutely.
obviously from experiencing over there that.
Oh yeah.
And from your folks being there that we have a full-service club from the restaurant, to our new patio outside,
which is absolutely beautiful.
Isn't that beautiful?
Oh yeah.
So that's encouraged a lot of interest. Our neighboring clubs don't have what we have when it comes to facilities.
Absolutely not.
So.
And the food is absolutely phenomenal.
It is.
As you know as well as I do.
Yeah, we bring guests in there and they just want to come back.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Chef Paul is, he's been there a long time. I think he's been there about as long as I have. And, it's consistent.
Oh, yeah.
When we have special events, he might even pull out some of his, dusted off a few for the old recipes and,
absolutely.
Cooked up some special meals and,
absolutely.
We'll have some theme nights and so forth.
Yeah.
And it's, again, it's unique that way.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we also got to mention the wonderful wait staff and the wonderful bartending staff.
Correctly. Yep.
In the grill room.
Absolutely.
Especially one of our favorites.
That's right, Happy Joe.
That's right.
Happy Joe, best bartender in the state.
Absolutely.
Definitely, he's miles ahead of anybody I've been associated with when it comes to positive outlook on things and his cheery outlook on life, and he's our guests immediately remember somebody like him.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he leaves an impression.
Oh yeah,
as we know.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
And Carl and Steve, who basically manage our restaurant and our events there indoors. They're lucky to have a guy like Joe.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Plus, we have some other terrific people that have had to manage both, our new patio as well as indoors. And when you lose a lot of your summer help come Labor Day, it makes everybody's job, a little more difficult because they're probably having to do 2 or 3 different things at the same time.
Exactly.
But they do it.
Absolutely.
They do it.
And they did a phenomenal job on that patio.
They really did.
It's really nice.
Yeah. We had our club championship awards afternoon there with food and drink, and it was a perfect place to have that. We had a great weather day.
Oh yeah. It was...
we've got the furniture out there and the umbrellas, and in the evening we've got propane heat if needed. And it can run itself for a lot of the daytime.
There's propane heat out there? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we've got the propane heaters that we in place if needed for.
Okay.
Say if we have a fall event out there. Yep.
Wow, I didn't.
Yep.
I never realized that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen them in action. It's
have
we've had some recent wedding ceremonies or some
Yep.
some pre-wedding ceremonies there that I've witnessed out there.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. And it is by the way, it is a beautiful place if you ever want to get married there.
that's what I understand.
It is.
what I understand,
My
yeah.
sister got married there a
Did she?
couple years ago. Yeah, it was.
I had my wife's. I had her 50th birthday party there,
Okay, yeah.
and which was again many years ago now. But we still remember that because we also introduced to myself and others, I think, Rock Bottom, Pete and I's band.
Who? I don't know that. I've never met that man before in my life.
So they they played the 50th party for my wife.
Oh,
And
there
it was
you
a
go.
great time, So
He's a very interesting person,
very interesting person, right?
Mr. Nye.
Mr. Nye,
Absolutely,
and he's got a rock of a wife and Val.
he does.
So-
They're both absolutely phenomenal people. I know Peter both
Right.
as teacher, and I actually, when he coached football for the last couple of years,
That's
I
right.
helped him. I was behind the scenes on
Yeah,
the
you were.
sidelines
I
doing
remember seeing you
stats,
there, sure.
doing stats and stuff, and
Yeah.
he's just an awesome guy.
Sure is.
Very humble, very cool to hang out with.
Right.
Absolutely.
So we threw a great party for my wife on her 50th day, and
Absolutely.
it was and the whole team there did a great job.
Absolutely.
The previous team that we had in place for the 100th, those folks have pretty much moved on, but
Right.
they did a fabulous job too. We've been very fortunate, I think, in my 30 years there to have just terrific people at every level.
Absolutely.
There's been 3 golf pros there since I started there, and
Oh, really? Who? Really?
so they were all excellent at what they did. They all have their certain things that they love to do. I think from a standpoint of Sean Busker, he loves to teach.
Oh, yeah.
He's
absolutely.
a terrific golf teacher, and he enjoys it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
He does.
I've seen him out on the tee in the hot sun, from 9 to 6.
Exactly.
Some days.
Absolutely.
So-
Just teaching people on how to play golf.
And he's the perfect pro for, I think, what we have going on now, where you have a lot of people getting into the game.
Absolutely. Now, once you learn the sport of golf, it's probably not that hard to pick up and learn and actually get out there.
It takes constant practice at different things because there's so many different facets to it. You got putting, you have chipping, you have sand shots and sand play, you have the long game, like I call it, with your longer clubs that
Right.
hit it further. You have your short game,
Right.
from 100 yards in, for example. They're all particular facets to the game that have to be practiced and learned.
Right.
And and again, it takes a lot of constant practice, and it's tough to lay off the game for a week and come back and pick it back up where you left off.
Absolutely.
So it is a individual sport.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, is there a water hole out there?
Oh, there's several.
I was going to
Oh,
say,
yeah.
I'm thinking. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's-
yeah.
And the water holes have gotten a lot higher in recent
Oh, absolutely.
recent weeks with the storms we've had.
Oh, absolutely.
So there's less forgiveness on balls that head that direction.
I was gonna say, one day they're gonna drain the water hole, and I wonder how many golf balls they're gonna find
gonna
at the
find a
bottom.
lot, and-
It's at the bottom of the hole.
We got a lot of water holes that that are just waiting for golf balls, and they
Oh,
get a lot of action.
Absolutely.
Our 3rd hole, our 11th hole, our 17th hole are 3 prominent ones, and then we've actually got 2 water hazards on the 8th hole.
Really?
Both sides of the green, yeah.
Really? Wow. I didn't realize that.
I've found them all over time.
I was gonna
Found them all.
gonna say you've probably left a couple golf balls in each hole.
I have.
Over time.
I sure have, So I think we could all probably say that at some point.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Anyway,
Now we got a little bit more time left before we say goodnight. Mention of the gala one more time.
so our 125th, which is our 126th gala,
Yeah.
which is October 2nd,
Okay.
because our club is now 125, 126 years old.
Right.
And it was built 1895.
Mm-hmm.
It was moved, still in Clinton, but
Yeah.
it was moved to a different plot of land.
That's right.
and then it was doubled in size in the 60s. So I think he had a span of 7 or 8 years between the two 9s that were built.
Okay.
But we recognize 1895 as when Clinton Country Club broke ground to become a golf course.
If you ever want to see something cool from the 100th anniversary, the book that they have, very interesting book. Dave Adams, when he was here, brought me the book. He brought me the book, and
we've got a lot of history at the club in our display cases too. That
really?
That show some of the earlier awards and
I'll have to
clubs that were used, and
next time I'm there, I'll have to take a look.
So it's as you walk in, it's right there on the right.
Absolutely. Yeah, next time I'm there, I'll have to take a look.
So.
Well, Jim Curtis, we're all about to say goodnight, but before we do, I want to thank you for coming down. Hopefully, we'll see you again soon.
Absolutely, Pete.
All right. Thanks, bud.
Thanks for your time.
You got it. Thank you.
Yep.
On behalf of Jim Curtis, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks. Good night, and we'll see you next time.